Hey, OroNaz, Seth here. I am thankful to be joining you today to share a little bit of a refreshment for you from the Word and a little reflection on how the Lord is speaking to me as we are in this new year in 2023. And so, as I've been thinking and praying the last several days and several weeks, the word that keeps coming back to mind, which is typical for this time of year, is rhythm. And as I think about the year past and the year ahead, it's one of the things that I like to do is to sit down and take some time to be intentional towards the end of the year to reflect and look back, and then take some time to look ahead. Not necessarily big on New Year's resolutions per se, but just taking some time to examine more as a spiritual discipline, to reflect, to pay attention, to listen to how God is speaking and moving and leading in these new days in this new year. And so I encourage you to think about that as you reflect and pray about this day, the weeks and months, the year ahead, to think about that. What kind of rhythms are in your life, or do you want to change or add or maybe remove? Think about rhythms in light of what I shared last time and we've talked about before with the rhythm and the pace of Jesus and his life and ministry. And one of the words was that he is not hurried. He was not hurried in his life or ministry. Certainly there were times where there was a sense of urgency, but he wasn't rushed per se, and he often withdrew to be alone, to be with his Father, our Father, in prayer, in silence, in solitude, and communion with him. And so I want to invite you as we look at this new year to do the same, to think about what are the rhythms that you want to examine in your life, and what is the rhythm in general that you want to posture yourself in your life. And so I want to share from Psalm 84, which is the psalm that we used a couple of verses from for our call to worship on Sunday morning, as well as what we used in our staff meeting Monday morning during our time of prayer and worship and meditation in the Word. And these verses from Psalm 84 are about dwelling in the house of the Lord and a desire to be in his presence. So hear these words from Psalm 84. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord of hosts! My soul longs, indeed it faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh sing for joy to the living God. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young. At your altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Happy are those who live in your house, ever singing your praise. And then skipping just a few verses ahead, I want to read verse 10 that says, For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than live in the tents of wickedness. For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. So my hope and my prayer as I'm looking into the days ahead in this year, and my prayer for you and for us as a community would be that we would find that desire to be true in our hearts and our lives, that we would long, that we would yearn to be in the presence of the Lord as we press into that together as a church. I hope that rings true for us, that as we examine the rhythms of our lives together, that would be true. And so I want to invite you, just as we have read this, to just either listen or sing with me this chorus. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts. Better is one day in your house. Better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Than thousands elsewhere. And finally, I just want to invite you, whether you have some time now or later in the day or another day this week, to just take some time in silence, in solitude, and reflection, listening to the Lord, just in prayer and in reading His Word, asking this question that we often come back to: how are you speaking, and how are you moving? And I'm just going to sing this to encourage us as we just take some time to listen. How are you speaking? And what are you saying? How are you moving? What are you doing? Come and speak to us. Come and move in us. Come speak your truth. Come and have your way. Your kingdom come, and your will be done here in this place, as it is in heaven, here in this place, as it is in heaven. So be encouraged today, here in this place, as it is in heaven. Be encouraged that He is doing a good work in you and in us. And I'm excited to see and to hear more testimonies about how God is leading each of you in your personal lives, and to continue to press into how He leads us as a church. So love you all, and have a wonderful day.